Real estate has been a hot topic all year in Canada. At the beginning of the year, the talk was all about how high prices had climbed. And then it was about the proposed ban on blind bidding and foreign buyers ban. And then we talked about how prices were dropping and how interest rates were going up. But while all of this was happening, there was a pretty big change announced by the Canadian Real Estate Association, and it never really received the amount of attention that it should have, or likely would have had we not had such a crazy year in real estate news. So today we're going to talk about how the Canadian Real Estate Association has taken away some of the choice of homeowners on how they sell their home, the pros and cons to these changes, and how it will impact the average homeowner when they go to sell their home. If you're new to my videos, my name is Jessie McLellan and I'm a realtor here in Oshawa, Ontario. If you want to stay up to date on the real estate market, especially what's going on in Durham region and the GTA, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. Right now, if a homeowner decides to sell their home, they have several different options on how they go about that process. They can choose to work with a realtor, they can choose to sell it privately and handle everything themselves, and they can choose a more middle ground option like mere postings, which is a limited service agreement. Basically, a homeowner ends up doing the vast majority of work themselves, but they pay a brokerage to put their home on MLS, and then the homeowner is still responsible to organize showings and negotiate offers for themselves. Or they could work with a realtor but opt not to put their home on the MLS system and have their realtor market the house and bring them potential buyers for the property. But the Canadian Real Estate Association, or CREA, announced in October that they were introducing a new Realtor Cooperation Policy that aims to limit real estate agents' use of exclusive listings. This new policy would require that any new listings be made available on MLS within 3 days of being marketed publicly. The policy is supposed to come into effect January 1st, 2023, but boards and associations have 6 months to enforce the policy. There are a couple of things that I'd like to point out from CREA's official statement, and then I'll address them from my own point of view. So in CREA's statement, they say that brokerages and realtors do not have the option to opt out of the policy. This policy applies to all listings that are being publicly marketed, and realtors should be prepared to put the property listing on MLS of their board or association within the required time frame, which is 3 days once public marketing begins. Now, what they consider public marketing is the following: marketing of a listing to the public or any realtor not directly affiliated with the listing brokerage/office in a business capacity, and includes any representation regarding the sale of the property, including flyers, yard signs, digital marketing online, social media, etc. And they also say in the statement that from the perspective of a seller, a property with extensive exposure on an MLS system may increase the number of offers and improve their chances of receiving the most competitive offers for their home. Here's my thoughts and issues with that. I agree that putting your home on the MLS system and making it publicly available for 99% of the active buyers to see is beneficial for the homeowner. And it will likely help them receive more interest, more offers, and likely a higher dollar value than they would have had they not put it on MLS. This is one of the main reasons that homeowners choose to work with real estate agents. But I would also argue that limiting us to only 3 days of marketing prior to that client's home going on MLS is not benefiting the client. In fact, it's doing the opposite. Essentially, you're limiting the client's home's exposure to the market. On the average listing, we'll start advertising around 7 days in advance of it going on MLS. And we may even reach out to past clients or other realtors we know who are looking for their clients even earlier. This allows us enough time to market the property through digital and print advertising so that when the property does go on MLS, we have a group of interested buyers that know that the property is about to hit MLS, and then they can choose to book a showing either through our team or through their own realtor. It's beneficial to our clients because it gets more eyes on their property, books more showings, gets more offers, and ultimately helps their house sell for more money. that is what we're paid to do. We're required to work in our client's best interest, and limiting their exposure to the market is not working in my client's best interest. But there are realtors who would absolutely take advantage of that as well. Buyers who call on their coming soon listings might be able to get in and view it sooner and submit an offer before it hits MLS. Whereas buyers who call that are working with their own realtor might be told to wait till it's on MLS and book through their realtor, which would provide an unfair advantage to some buyers and would provide the listing agent an unfair opportunity to double end the transaction. I agree with CREA's sentiment that that's not really how you should handle your listings, and all buyers should be given a fair opportunity to compete for the property. And if you call on one of our properties that we have listed, you're not going to get special treatment just because we're the listing agent. Our duty and our contract is with our seller, and we need to work in their best interest. I know that some people think that contacting the listing agent can get them a deal, and I think that's one of the problems that CREA is trying to address here. And I can honestly say that if I were to be approached by another realtor at a different brokerage and they say they have a client that is really excited about my exclusive listing and they want to do an offer on it, I would be very happy for my client and be happy to pay them the cooperating commission because we cooperated on the transaction. And I think most realtors would feel the same way. And from a realtor's point of view and being completely transparent, coming soon marketing can be one of the ways that realtors generate business. Even for myself, I enjoy door knocking around my upcoming listings because it's mutually beneficial for my client and myself. The neighbors may know of family or friends that are looking to move into the neighborhood, and so it could help bring my client an offer. But if they're looking to move or they know somebody who's looking to move, it also allows me the opportunity to introduce myself. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's being handled ethically and not to the detriment of the seller client. I agree that there are real issues, but in my opinion, CREA could have done a better job of addressing these issues in a more effective way. If they want to prevent coming soon listings from only being available to unrepresented buyers and agents double-ending deals, resulting in homes selling for less money than they should have, then they could always take the route of British Columbia, where they banned dual representation and only allow an agent to represent one side of the transaction. If they want to prevent coming soon signs from going up on lawns 60, 70, 80 days before it hits MLS, I can understand that, but let's pick a number that's bigger than 3 and still allow us to pre-market our clients' homes. Giving 3 days to market a home is not enough time. In my opinion, it should be somewhere between 7 and 14 days and really up to the client and their realtor to determine. Now, the reason I say that is because it's a fair amount of time to market most listings and also allows you to generate some buyer interest as well. It also gives realtors a fair window to order signs up and have any sort of digital ads ready to go, as well as any print materials or flyers done up and delivered in that time. For most homeowners, this policy is really only going to prevent your home from being marketed more than 3 days in advance. Your realtor might be annoyed about it, or they might not care because they didn't pre-market it anyway. So you might not notice a huge difference in the process. However, there's a lot of situations and reasons why someone might need to sell their home but not want it publicly available on MLS. And this is where I think some people will have an issue with this policy. To put a home on MLS, you have to abide by the rules of the board that you're putting it on. So for example, in order for a home to be put on MLS, it needs to be available for showings. You can't put a home on MLS and then refuse showings for days and days at a time. But there are people who may not be able to accommodate showings at any date or time during the week. Homeowners who are elderly or have disabilities or other health issues might not be able to get out of their house every single day to allow for showings, so they might want to limit it to a couple times per week. Couples who are getting a divorce and don't want their price and home information available to the public. People who run businesses out of their home, like home daycares, and can't have strangers in and out of their home all day. The owners of higher end homes sometimes don't like to provide public access. Somebody like an ex-hockey player or a basketball player might not want to have just anybody through their home because they have really high-end cars or other very expensive items in their home, and they want buyers to undergo a more thorough screening process. The owners of homes with a ton of clutter, like hoarder homes, and they might be embarrassed and not want people through. Or it could be genuinely dangerous to have people through those homes. All of these are legitimate reasons why someone wouldn't want to have their home on MLS, but they will need to have their home marketed in some fashion if they want to sell. And according to CREA's definition of public marketing, even notifying an agent outside of your own brokerage is considered public marketing. Some homes that do need extensive repairs or renovations, or the hoarder homes, they can take a lot longer to find the right buyer. And if it takes them a month to clear out the home and get it ready for showings, then we can market it during that time. That's very beneficial to the client if we can get them closer to an offer by the time it hits MLS, instead of having them working hard on their home for 30 days and us there with our hands tied because we can't technically market it. It feels like CREA is saying that this is to the benefit of homeowners, but in reality, it's really taking that choice away from homeowners and forcing them to use an MLS system. My concern is that this could backfire, and instead of adding more listings to MLS, it pushes people away who would have worked with a realtor prior, like the scenarios I just mentioned. Someone who has health issues and can't accommodate regular showings, or someone who runs a childcare center out of their home, or somebody who's just particular about who they allow through, may all decide not to sign with a real estate agent if they are forced onto MLS within the 3 days. I think we will likely hear a further update from the Canadian Real Estate Association on this policy because it's definitely stirred up some talk amongst realtors. And we have already heard from our local board that they may be considering adding some flexibility to the policy by allowing a listing realtor to communicate on a one-to-one basis with another realtor from a different brokerage regarding a specific property for sale. But they're going to bring that policy to a vote at the 2023 AGM. And I think that those of you that are going to be selling your home in the future should know about this proposed change too. It'll be interesting to see what, if any, changes are made to this policy, as well as how the boards and associations are planning on enforcing them. These are just my thoughts, but I do want to know what you think though. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's not really going to make a difference? Or do you think it's a bad idea and you don't like it? Let me know in a comment below. Thanks so much for watching and sticking around until the end. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one next week. Bye!